Alright, here's my crowd. Alright. Hawaii, Miami, Venice, and Greece. When you think of those places, you probably think of some very nice places to travel to, sand, beaches, certain things like that. If you're like most people, one of, if not all of these places I just mentioned are places you have wanted to travel to. What I'm going to be talking about is how traveling, whether you're a college student, a CEO, or a CEO of a company, is something that you should take time to do. It is a great way to have fun, and they will also help you be more productive at work or school when you come back. You may be asking how that is possible. But when you come back from your vacation, you have had an extended time to relax and have had a good time. And now, so then when you come back, you can then you're rejuvenated and are more productive while you're at work. So I'm talking about travel today. So I'm going to be looking at some of the pros, so some of the best unknown places to travel to, the best places to travel to with on a fixed budget, and then I'm going to address some issues that people have with traveling, such as no time, no money, certain things like that, and then give some simple ways to fix those issues. And then at the very end, I have some time to discuss certain issues. So, whether you travel for business or for pleasure, the most important part of your itinerary may be the trip you take before you leave home. That's a quote that's from Lynn Woods and John Parmalay's article. It's basically talking about the journey of planning your trip, whether you go through a travel agent, or if you do all the research yourself, or if you're going off of word of mouth from a friend or a colleague. So, let's take a look at some of the best places to travel to that many people don't know about. So, this is Plitvice Lakes in Croatia. I don't think I really have to explain why this is one of a good place to travel to. It looks pretty beautiful and very peaceful. Here's another one. Lake Baikal in Russia. It's obviously gorgeous. And then Treehouse Point in Washington. This one is kind of cool because it's just a giant treehouse in the middle of the woods. You guys are probably thinking that these aren't necessarily the most cost-efficient places to travel to. So I'll show you some places that are better to travel to if you are on a fixed budget. So if you were to take a trip to the Grand Canyon, when you're at the Grand Canyon, it's actually only $25 a car to be able to just explore and walk around there, which is a great place to go to. I have been there, and so it's beautiful. If you go to San Antonio Riverwalk, obviously you're going to have to pay to drive to San Antonio, but the Riverwalk is actually free, and so you can walk along that. There's actually a bunch of activities that you can do that cost money, but there's a bunch of different activities that you can do at that time. Then, one of the places that I did mention in the slide before this is Treehouse Point. Actually, it's $20 a person for the tour that they give, and that may be a little expensive, but considering the uniqueness of that area, it actually is probably worth the money. So, if you're somewhat like any normal, typical college student, you probably are thinking that you don't have the time to travel or you don't have the money to travel. And so, when quoting, I'm going to quote Forbes.com's article, The Real Cost of a Summer Vacation. The average cost of vacation for a week is about actually $1,145 a person, according to their website. I don't think it has to be that high, honestly. So let's look at some easy ways to help ease minds on traveling. So if you have limited time and you're just like any typical college student, you just need to set a date. If you're booked for the next 5 months, you need to look at the 6th month. If you're booked for the next year, look into the 2nd year. Whatever it be, you need to just find a certain date and then just set that date. Go for that specific time, find a week, whatever it is, a few days, just a weekend, anything like that. Just set that specific date and stick with it. If you're, again, like any typical college student, and you're limited on money, just figure out how much money the total trip is going to cost, wherever you're going to. Then divide it by how far out your trip is. So if your trip is 6 months out, divide the total cost by 6 months. Or if it's 30 weeks, then divide it by 30 weeks. Whatever it is, divide the total cost by the how far out your trip is, and it'll give yourself a smaller goals to reach each time, and so that you just start slowly reaching that goal, and by the end you have completely saved up for that entire trip. So, any questions or comments?
So you mentioned that you've been to the Grand Canyon. Have
Yes.
you been to any of the other places that you've mentioned?
I've been to the San Antonio Riverwalk, but other than that, I've never been to the Plitvice Lakes or Lake Baikal or anything like that. I want to go to that Treehouse Point place, but I have not been able to.
Yeah, what's your favorite vacation you've been on?
My favorite vacation was actually a cruise that I went on into the Bahamas. We took a week off and we just went on a nice cruise, and the best place was actually this secluded island where it was super peaceful and the water was like super clear. It was awesome. Anyone else? Any other questions or comments?
How do you feel like travel agents fit into all of this? You think they're
That's a great question. I actually forgot that point in my slides here. Being that I am recently engaged, I have had to go through a travel agent to set up our honeymoon, and so he actually gave us a good way to make sure that when planning future vacations, or even this one, is that you want to make sure that you set your vacation date to make sure that you get the best quality by going a few weeks or a week before peak season, so like right before the summer, because you get the great weather still. You also get the best service basically, and great prices, because it's all before peak season, and you get the best service because this hotels and all that restaurants are all trying to gear up and get ready for that peak season. So you're basically their trial run. But yeah, that's a great question. Anything else?
Where are you going?
We actually haven't decided on that yet. We're waiting on our travel agent to get back to us. So, alrighty. Well, so I hope that this discussion has helped you realize that it is easier to plan a vacation than what most people think it is. I also hope that you all will be able to use these tools the next time you plan a vacation. Thank you.